My critic and listener of today, Miss Jana C. Agleron from BSIT 2 F1.
Good afternoon, Miss Jana C. Agleron. My name is Diane Hogno from BSIT 1 F1. And today, I will present to you my activity that my teacher gave to us. And this activity is inspired by the enrollment form in Miscat Calapan City Campus. But this program or this activity that I created is purely my own version. And as you can see in my program, I use 5 different data types: string, char, int, double, and decimal. String is used to represent the collection of characters such as numbers, letters, symbols, and etc. And as you can see, I use string to declare the value of every variables that are included, such as first name, last name, ID number, sex, program, and school. In char, or short term for character, it is used to store single character, and middle initial is a single letter. So basically, it is appropriate to use the char data type. Int is short term for integer. I use data type int to declare the value of age, student, F1 student equals 50. I already declared the value of F1 student since the number of BSIT 1 F1 student is 50. And I also use data type to I also use double data type to declare the grade in Phil 111, Lit 111, ITC 112, English 001, ITC 111, PE 111, Mathematics 111, SOCSI 111, and NSTP 1. And I also use double data type in getting the GWA of my grade or the grade of the user in first sem and the sum of the grade of the user and unit. And lastly, I use decimal to declare the tuition in Miscat. This is just an example if ever that Miscat institution has tuition. But in real life, Miscat is free higher education. So now let's start the execution. I use for loop to have a loop in my program. Student 1 equals 1, student less than or equal F1 student. Since I already declared the number of F1 student, which is 50, and student increment. Consult that right line enrollment form. This text enrollment form will be displayed when we run our program. And console that right line is used to display or print the text, and as well as in console that right line for second semester, school year 2020 to 2021. And as you can see, I use new line for the distancing and for new paragraph. And consult that right line. Attention, please enter your personal information. This text will be displayed when I run the program. So now let's go in entering the data. Console.write first name. Since the first name is a string data type, it will be converted to console.readline to have the value of the first name. Same as with the middle initial, that the middle initial will be converted to char console.readline since the middle initial is a character. Console.write last name. The last name that we will input will be converted since it is a data type. It will be converted in console.readline. Console.write ID number. ID number is included in string data type because ID number is composed of letters, numbers, and symbols. And it will be converted to console.readline to have the entered or input data in ID number. Console.write age. Age is included in string data type. So it will be converted to 2int 32 console.readline to have the value of age. And console.write sex. Sex is considered or included in string data type. So it will be converted to console.readline to have the value of or to have the entered data in sex. Console.write tuition. Since I use decimal data type in tuition, it will be converted to decimal console.readline to have the value of tuition, and since decimal is used for monetary and financial, so this is appropriate to have the variable to our variable tuition because tuition is an amount that the student pays in every semester. Console.write program year-end section. Program equals console.readline. Since program is a string data type, it will be converted to console.readline. Console.write school, college, institution. School is declared as string data type. It will be converted to console.readline to have the data entered or to have the input of school and college institution right here. And as you can see, I also include new line or console.write line, new line to have a new line or new paragraph and spacing in every line. So after getting all the data that we need in personal information, now we're going to enter the data or grade in every course that we have in first semester. Console.write line, did you pass the last semester? This word will display later when we run our program. Console.write, enter your grade in ComFill. Since I use the double data type, fill 111 will be converted to double console.readline, and in every grade that the user input there will be if and else statement. If Phil 111 less than or equal to 3, since 3 or 3 is the passing grade in college, so let's say that if the user have less than or equal to 3 grade in Phil 111, it will display the word pass. But if the user have more than 3 grade in Phil 111, it will display the word failed, and it will remind you to please retake this course next year. Good luck. Same step in literature. The lit 111 will be converted into 2 double because it is a double data type, and after getting or entering the grade that you have in literature, we will now have the if and else statement, which will declare if you pass or you failed the course. Same with the programming one, same steps like the previous grade that the user entered, as well as in grammar and composition. Enter the grade and it will declare if your grade is pass or failed. Intro to Computing, PE, MMW or Mathematics in Modern World, and in social science or in SocSci. Those course code, example, SocSci will be converted to 2 double console.readline to have the value of each course code or to have the value in each course. Then, after getting the value, we will now have the if and else statement, which will declare if your grade in those course will pass or fail. So now, let's move on from entering grade. And now, after entering the grade in every course, let's now solve the GWA or the grade weighted average. In getting the grade weighted average, we need to find the sum of the course that we have and multiplied it by 3 or multiplied it by its unit. For example, Phil 111. The grade that you have in Phil 111 will be multiplied by 3 because we have, or in our first semester, Phil 111 have 3 units. And after multiplying the grade and the unit per course, let's now sum it up. And then, after we sum it up, all the grade and the units, we will now divide it to 27. Because in 9 course that we have, that BSIT1F1 student have, it has 3 units per course. So 3 times 9 equals 27. And after dividing the sum to 27, we will now have the GWA. And after getting the GWA, we will now have the console.write. Your final grade on GWA in first sem is placeholder. I use placeholder to have the value of GWA right here. And after getting the GWA for per sem, we will now have the if-else statement. GWA less than or equal to 3. If I have less than or if the user have less than or equal to 3 GWA wherein the 3 is the passing, this will display in your program. It says that congratulations, you passed the first sem. Here are your courses and respective units for second sem. If we have less than or equal to 3 GWA, we will now have this kind of form. And this will contain your name, placeholder 0, placeholder 1, placeholder 2. Which consists of, in placeholder 0, it will contain the last name. In placeholder 1, the first name. Placeholder 2, the middle initial. In sex, I have placeholder 0. And it will contain the data that the user entered in his or her sex. As well as in ID number, I use placeholder 0. It will contain my ID number. As well as in program year and section and school and college institution. So, this course code, course description, and units are the course code and course description and units of a regular student of 1F1 for this second semester. And if I have more than 3 GWA or grade weighted average, it will print, sorry, you failed some of your courses last semester. You need to retake the failed course. Please coordinate with the register office. Strive harder. And because your grade weighted average doesn't pass, then it will print the text right here. Then write here that you failed this sem. And that's the end of my program. After creating the program, now let's make it run. As you can see, all the text that we had before, like this enrollment form and this reminder, are all displayed because of the console.write line. And now, we're going to enter the data for each needed variable, like first name. So, let's start entering the data. So I am the first user of this program, and I will enter my personal data as for the preference. So as for tuition, because Miskat Calapan City Campus has no tuition, let's just assume that a student has a tuition that needs to pay every semester. So after entering all the information, the personal information that the user entered, so now let's enter the grade in every course that BSIT student had last semester. And because I don't have any COG, I don't know some of my grades, I'll just assume that this entered data are my grade. As you can see here, when I entered a less than or equal to 3 grade or grade in a course, it will appear or it will mark you as passed in that certain course. So as you can see, after entering all the grades that I have or the user had in her last semester, it will appear the final grade or GWA in that semester, in first semester. And my GWA is 1.88. So that means that I passed the first semester. And and together with that, after printing that you passed the first semester, all your information are displayed. All your information are displayed in here, and together with your course code, course description, and units. And this course code, course description, and units that I entered or print or display in here are my subject or are my course in second semester or in today. So after printing it, we have another enrollment form, and this enrollment form will be for the second time. And because of the for loop or the looping statement that I use in my program, and F1 BSF F1 student equals to 50, so that means that this enrollment form will loop 50 times. So I had tried the past grade. So let's try another grade that will show the failed grade. So let's enter another data. So again, this is the output if you have a failing grade. So let's just enter some of the grades for failing grade. So as you can see, because the pro because our if statement is grade less than or equal to 3, so it means this is pass because it is 3 or tres. What if that the student has a failed grade? What would it display? If the student failed in computer programming 1, this will display the failed. Please retake this course next year. Good luck. Again, if he or she have failed grade in the major subjects or in any other course or subject, this will display that you are failed. So after entering all the data that the user have her grade or his grade, then he this is her or his final grade or GWA for first semester. His grade is 3.63. 3.63, and because the passing grade is flat 3 or tres without any decimal point or any other points behind, so this means that he failed. So this will print if the student or the user failed some subjects. Sorry, you failed some of your courses last semester. You need to retake the failed courses. Please coordinate with the registrar office or your teacher. Strive harder. This will print if you have failed GWA. And for the third time, we have another enrollment form. And that would be all. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Jana C. Aglaron, for listening and for having a patience when it comes to my presentation due to the lack of internet connection.